We often think of fasting as just, well, not eating or drinking. But what if there's something much, much deeper going on? Something so special that its reward is in a category all its own. Today, we're going to dive into that very idea, using a classic and super authentic prophetic tradition, Hadith 1959 from Mishkat al-Masabeh, to really get to the spiritual heart of this amazing practice.
Okay, check this out. For most of the good things we do, the reward is kind of on a scale, right? It gets multiplied by 10, maybe even up to 700 times. But fasting? Whoa, it's completely different. It's literally off the charts. The tradition says its reward isn't even calculated that way. It comes directly from God. Now that right there makes you ask the big question. What is it about fasting that makes it so unique?
Well, the whole answer really starts with understanding why you're doing it. This isn't just about abstaining. It's about who you're doing it for. It's about fasting for God. And that's where the secret, personal side of this act really shines. This line gets right to the core of it. Think about it. Fasting is a deeply personal sacrifice. I mean, you can see someone praying, you can see them giving charity, but fasting, that's almost completely hidden. It's this quiet, internal choice to put aside some of our most basic human drives, not for any kind of show, but purely for God. And just so you know where we're getting this from, this is Hadith 1959 from the collection Mishkat al-Masabih. Now, for those who are into the details, it's classified as muttafaqun alayh, which basically means agreed upon. That's the highest level of authenticity you can get. It's found in the top-tier collections of both Bukhari and Muslim. So we're standing on some seriously solid ground here. So because this act is so personal, so hidden from everyone else, God himself claims it. He says, "For it is for me, and I will reward for it." You see how that changes everything? It stops being a simple transaction of good deeds for points, and it becomes this intimate, personal bond. The reward is a private thing, just between you and your Creator. So this special personal reward, what does it actually feel like? The cool thing is, the tradition doesn't just leave it as some vague idea. It spells out two very specific, very real moments of pure happiness for the person who fasts. So the reward comes in two amazing parts. First, there's that joy we can all relate to, right? That immediate, incredible feeling of relief and gratitude when the sun goes down and you break your fast. But then there's the second joy. And that's the ultimate one, that spiritual happiness that's waiting for you in the afterlife when you meet your Lord and really understand the true value of what you did. And this next part is just beautiful. It's such a powerful image. In our world, the smell from an empty stomach might be seen as unpleasant. But this tradition completely flips that on its head. It says that in God's eyes, that very sign of your sacrifice is more beautiful, more fragrant than the most expensive perfume. It takes something we see as a negative and turns it into a profound spiritual positive. But it doesn't just stop at this internal transformation. The Hadith also explains that fasting has a really practical job to do in our day-to-day lives. It's described as a shield. Okay, so a shield, what's it shielding us from? Now, we're not talking about a physical shield, of course. This is a spiritual and ethical shield. Think of it like a defense mechanism for your soul. It's there to protect your character, to help you guard against your own worst impulses, to stop you from saying things you'll regret, and to keep you out of pointless fights. And it gets super specific about what this shield is for. If you're truly fasting, you have to actively protect your tongue from ugly language, your mind from nonsense, and your temper from arguments. It really drives home the point that real fasting is a workout for your entire being, not just your stomach. So that brings up a really practical question, right? It's one thing to be all calm and collected when you're by yourself, but what happens when someone else comes along and tries to start a fight or just really get under your skin? What are you supposed to do then? And the answer provided is so simple, but so incredibly powerful. You just say, "I am fasting." See what that does? It works in two ways. First, it's a reminder to yourself to stay true to your higher goal. And second, it's a calm, clear way of telling the other person, "Hey, I'm not engaging." It's a tool for inner strength and outer peace all at once. It's you actively choosing to protect your fast. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. We've got this incredibly special personal reward. We have these two distinct moments of joy, and we have this idea of a spiritual shield. When you look at all of that, what's the ultimate message? What's the big takeaway from all of this? Here's the bottom line. The kind of fasting we're talking about here is a total all-in training program. It's about disciplining your body's urges, yeah, but it's also about controlling what comes out of your mouth and elevating your spiritual focus. You could almost call it a spiritual boot camp designed to build your self-control, your patience, and your awareness of God.
And that leaves us with one last thing to really think about. In our modern world, right? A world that's just full of constant noise, online arguments, and a million distractions. What does it mean for us, today, to use fasting as a spiritual shield? How can we take this ancient idea of total self-control and use it to protect our own peace and build our character? It's a really powerful question to sit with.